celebrate Professor Jon Van Dyke, who is so important to this community, and Sherry Broder and her generosity. I just wanted to say that I'm really thrilled. I love that this is a touchy-feely group of people, and that you lead with your heart, and that you recognize its centrality to all of our work and academic endeavors. I think that's really special. And I'm really very privileged to be among you. I hope you also enjoy being outside. It's always nice to feel a little wind blown as we start our day. So we are absolutely honored to support the work of a junior scholar at this year's JILSA annual meeting through the award of the Jon Van Dyke Junior International Law Scholars Association Paper Award. The award is to recognize the best papers submitted in advance of this annual meeting, written on any subfield of international law. The award comes with an honorarium of $1,000 to help defray the cost of attending the conference. The award honors, as I mentioned, the late Professor Jon Van Dyke. Professor Van Dyke was a beloved member of our Richardson Law community, where he was on the faculty for 35 years before his passing. He wrote extensively on the law of the sea, international environmental law, human rights, and Native Hawaiian rights, among other fields. It would be impossible to catalog all of the ways he made an impact through his legal work and his life at Richardson and the University of Hawaii. To mention just a few, he served as counsel for the inhabitants of a number of the Marshall Island atolls seeking compensation for damages resulting from the United States nuclear testing program. He also secured a landmark judgment against Ferdinand Marcos and later his estate on behalf of victims of torture, murder, and disappearances during the period of martial law in the Philippines. Professor Van Dyke was a brilliant scholar, a committed educator, and a mentor to junior faculty and scholars in the area of international law. So it is only fitting that this award be in his honor. It is meant to support the work of a junior scholar as a way to honor Professor Van Dyke's enduring memory. We are truly grateful to Sherry Broder, the founder and executive director of the Jon Van Dyke Institute for International Law and Justice at Richardson, as well as a lecturer at our law school. Thank you, Sherry, for your generosity and for your generous support of this award and for allowing us to honor your late husband in this way. We are grateful that Sherry and members of the family at this table here are joining us tonight. Would you join me in giving them a round of applause, please? Thank you all. We also would like to thank other members of the selection committee who served with Sherry to select the award-winning paper. Professors M.J. Durkee, Jean Galbraith, and Julian Arato, all JILSA alumni and former JILSA co-chairs, I understand. I'd also like to thank our current JILSA co-chair, of course, Professor Melissa Stewart, again for all of her work in facilitating. I really love it to be a rowdy bunch. I have to say, this is not like most of the conferences that I get to help them with things I get to do. So truly, I really appreciate this. The committee received a particularly strong slate of submissions from many of you. Many people didn't submit papers, and I would like to thank them all for sharing their exceptional scholarship. And now I'm pleased to present the Jon Van Dyke Junior International Law Scholars Award to, if there was a drum, we got some praise. Lawrence J. Yu for his The Demand for U.S. Administrative Trade Remedies, which is forthcoming in the NYU Law Review. Lawrence is currently a fellow at the Newcomb Center for the Rule of Law at Stanford University and an incoming associate professor of law at Washington University School of Law. The committee, Lawrence, was very impressed with the depth of your engagement with the literature and your use of interviews to contribute to our understanding of administrative trade remedies. Please join me again in congratulating.
And I'd like to invite Sherry to share a few words and remarks as well.
Well, I want to thank everybody who's here tonight for participating in this wonderful conference. And I know my late husband, Professor Jon Van Dyke, would be just thrilled to see all these young junior faculty who are so brilliant and working so hard to improve the rule of law and the issues relating to international law. I was honored to be on a panel of selectors for the paper, the outstanding paper, and it was very difficult. I was just like, wow, these people are so smart and working so hard and doing so much research and putting so much of themselves into the papers. And so it was very difficult, but I'm very proud to see the Professor Liu's paper and that he was the person to receive the award. The paper is really exceptional. I urge all of you to take a look at it. What I really liked about his paper was that he took another look at an issue that we're all facing today, which is tariffs. Like all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's become the big issue of the day. And he looked at from the ground up rather than from looking from the president down or whoever's in charge down. And I kind of got a little bit of hope reading his paper because there's a lot of administrative processes available. He interviewed 40 people who actually use the process. And so I urge all of you to read his paper. It was really brilliant. So thank you for submitting your paper for this award, Professor Leo. My late husband was very much involved in mentoring junior faculty, and I think he would be incredibly impressed with what Professor Stewart and Professor Jim have done to bring this conference together. And I think it's very exciting to see all of you. When Professor Van Dyke was young, starting out more like you folks are, he first clerked for Chief Justice Trainer at the California Supreme Court, and then after that he worked at the Center for the Study of Democratic Institutions in Santa Barbara, and that was like a think tank, you know, the liberal equivalent of maybe the Heritage Foundation. And while he was there, he met Elizabeth Borghese and a lot of other people. He was involved in the conference in Malta as a young scholar like you folks, which was the start of the effort to develop the Legacy Treaty. So I think that, you know, it's great what's ahead of you, what you have to do, what you have the opportunities for. It's really fantastic, and I feel uplifted tonight. I've been kind of depressed by what's everything that's been going on. But looking at all of you and reading the papers that were submitted, I feel optimistic for the future. So I urge all of you to keep it up. There's nothing I mean, being a law professor is fantastic. It's really great. And I hope that all of you will continue to work hard and help the rest of us to make our society a better place. Mahalo.
Thank you so much, Sherry. Sherry is also a beloved member of the Richardson community. She teaches our international ocean law class. She's guest lectured in my transnational litigation class, and she has deep JILSA roots because she also guest lectured for Sarah Muhammad's human rights class back in the day. So she knows the JILSA community well, and this was such a meaningful way for you to support us in this special reading conference. Thank you so much, Sherry. Since we have your attention, and I don't want to try to get it again after everyone's eating, we're going to do a little bit of passing of the torch. This is, I'm going to invite Cody to come up here and join me. This is my last JILSA conference as co-chair. This is after you. The idea of being a co-chair is in your second year you host at your home institution. And I cannot tell you how much it has meant to me to be a part of this community. That's why, while I'm not going to do that. Cody and Chris are disappointed in me that I didn't cry this morning. So I don't know, delivering on the expectations of wearing my heart on my sleeve. But, this community has just meant so much to me, and I couldn't imagine being a part of a better group, and I would not be putting in as much work when I'm home with my 4-month-old infant for any other reason than JILSA. But I'll pass it to Cody for a second, and then
We'll reconvene.
Yeah.
So, we've talked a lot about Melissa as an organizer of this conference.